Hello, everybody. Good evening. I know y'all are so excited to see me. Every time we come on and y'all see me, y'all get excited because I get excited. So today, as y'all can see from the title, we are being a bit more intentional with the conversation. We do want to speak to atheists tonight because I think that there are so many platforms and conversations happening for many different people and their belief systems and how they operate in their belief systems. And me and Malik consume a lot of that content, from Avery to Sam to Wes to Cliff. There's so many people discussing these conversations, but we don't see a lot of people focused on the atheist perspective. And I think in the most respectful way, we want to have conversations, but we do understand that there is an open-endedness to the atheist perspective that is contradictory to ours and many people's beliefs. And so, as y'all can see, you are welcome to join, welcome to give your perspectives respectfully, and we will do the same. But to get started, I will talk about some of the things that I have questions about, because I think a lot of times the conversation is always steered towards the believer in whatever they believe in, to prove or to advocate for their belief system. But in reality, I think that the conversation has to take a turn more towards a person who doesn't believe in anything, because I think that that can be a little bit more misinterpreted by most. You know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of people don't get to hear the people who have this specific perspective, because it's always going to be me talking about my belief. But let's not talk about our belief tonight. Let's not focus on Christianity tonight, because I think that anybody who's consumed our content, or many Christian content creators on the internet, will understand the generalizations and our what we believe in and how we believe in that. But do we get to hear the atheist perspective enough to where we can have a real conversation that is productive? I kind of see it always hitting a wall.
Yeah,
Even when you were on here, because I got off early one night, and Malik had a conversation and it became super aggressive. And it's like, that's not productive. That's
yeah,
not productive at all. So that's what we're trying to get tonight, a productive conversation
yeah.
with anybody willing.
Yeah, again, I pinned the link at the very top of the chat. I already pinned it, so you should be able to see it live in the chat. It says join if you disagree. So yeah, all we want is to have discussions with any atheist, because we're very curious. You hear from our perspectives all the time. We sit down with Christians all the time, with each other, and we have conversations about God existing and our interpretations of different scripture. But we want your actual interpretation on, why do you not believe? Why do you think there isn't a God? Why do you think nothing exists? Why do you think nothing comes from something? Why do you believe that when you go back to dust that you return and there's nothing after that? There's a lot of questions that I actually have for atheists. Like, for example, I've never, ever, ever been able to get an explanation from an atheist on what happens when you die. Because for us as believers, we have an explanation. We have an understanding on what happens with when you die, what happens when you resurrect, what happens, all these different types of things. But for atheists, all to me that it sounds like is nothingness, which
Mhm.
nothingness is actually more scary than something, right? Rather, if it's something you don't like or something you don't agree with, it still gives an explanation for something.
Mhm.
I can't truly rationally, I can't fathom nothingness, because when you say that there's nothing, then why do you exist? You can't rationally like live that actual lifestyle out completely. So
Genuine.
yeah,
Yeah.
genuine. What I find is atheists pick and choose what they like, what they don't like about the God of the Bible, and the things that they like, they apply it, and the things they don't like, they say, "Well, see, this is why I don't believe." And that's the reason why I want to have these conversations, is because I truly believe that they pick and choose what they do and don't like about the Bible. Honestly,
I mean, from my perspective, I don't think that they have many likes about the Bible at all. I think that there's a generalization of what is socially acceptable, and I think that there's just like a bandwagon mentality behind it. Like if everybody does this, then this is appropriate, and if nobody does this, then we don't do that because of societal, standard. But I also think that when Christ calls you to stand apart, there's a certain courage that
Mhm.
comes from that. You know what I'm saying? There's a level of individuality and a level of your own thought process that goes into being a believer and how you have a relationship with your creator, with our creator. And so, with that relationship being so tailored to you, between you and Christ, and it existing between the two of you in a way that develops from your personality and who you are, that individual relationship is something that blossoms into when you stand apart. You look different than others. You function differently than others, even from other Christians. Just because I'm Christian and you're Christian doesn't mean our walk, our plight, and our um and the way we lead our lives is going to be identical, right?
Mm.
But
Yeah.
sometimes I find there is a very common identical way of being for people who don't believe in anything, because you kind of have to be based on what is socially acceptable by most,
Yeah.
right? You're looking for validation or an acceptance from most, because if not, you are going to be functioning in your own like bubble. But that's going to be that I just don't see that being something that they do often, because it comes with like the isolation that most people don't like, that comes from religion. You don't want to be isolated, you don't want to be away, you want to function in society in like, most of them say like, in a good way, like in a unity and, happiness and joy. That's what most people say in general, whether you're talking
Yeah.
about religion or not. So, I wouldn't see that there's a, we haven't
Chuck
said anything, Chuck. So what are you
Chuck
talking about?
McNorris said not convinced. No, I think he's replying to why he's saying why he thinks God doesn't exist. I think he's saying he's not convinced that there is a God. That's why he's an atheist. I think that's what he's trying to say. Because he says atheists can't prove unicorns don't exist. And why does literally every single atheist I've talked to or encountered, they use unicorns as an example?
Well, because the
It's a
mind is
it's a fallacious,
childish.
yes, fallacious, and it's a childish argument. There's not one scholar that you're gonna find dedicating their lives to trying to prove unicorns exist or don't exist. We all know universally that the Loch Ness monster doesn't exist. We all know universally that there's no a monster up under your bed. There's fairy tale things that we know do not exist, and therefore that's the reason why scholars don't waste their time to actually try to prove or disprove. There's a reason why even atheist scholars dedicate their lives to trying to disprove that there is a God, because trying to disprove that if there is a God actually has substance behind it. When you're talking about unicorns, this has no substance behind it other than you just trying to be fallacious. That's why I don't like this example, and you guys continuously try to use it just to be funny, and actually it's not funny, it's actually just annoying, honestly.
Well, I think that there's a certain level of intellect that has to go into belief. There's having faith, having a perspective that leads you to a path of dignity and a certain standard of being takes a certain type of person. And so when you throw, like you say, fallacious or very childish things to compare it to God, and then we see that there is no like he says, substance behind the argument, it's because your intellect level hasn't reached the heights to be able to have an argument that is counterproductive, like something that where we can put it against God and say, okay, that matches, that makes sense, and we can see a human dilemma with unicorns that is substantiated and at the same level as God. And so when we go through these dilemmas, there it's a good comparison. It's something that can be productive and we can have a conversation. But there's not a lot of thought process that goes into not believing. It's just I just don't, because I don't want to, because I don't think about it, because I don't want to burden myself with trying to understand my purpose or my existence or what it is I want to be and who it is I want to show up as in this world. And so, and also the big elephant in the room is taking accountability for my actions and understanding that my actions have consequences, and those consequences are based on a moral lawgiver. And if that is not something that you subscribe to, then it's going to be just my own specific preference. And that is also something that we can have a conversation about, where your preferences and what you subscribe to, where that stems from, because it's not just from your mind singularly. You don't live in a world singularly. So these conversations are important, because I think that no matter what a person's belief system is, we need each other as human beings in this life, and relationships are very important. And so I think that if we can get to a place where it's normal to have these conversations, and it's normal to be able to disagree respectfully and have conversations that advance the human mind to new levels, and new levels of understanding, instead of divide and separate, then we can find a new level of intellect amongst us all, amongst the masses, and stop having these same unicorn boogeyman conversations.
Yeah. And see, he said here, he said Bible verses like Numbers 31:18. So when you speak about, especially the Old Testament, you need to understand the full context. See, what you like to do is you like to take one verse, right? It's a whole Numbers itself is one book for a reason. It's one book for a reason. It's not it's not one verse, it's not one sentence. So when you're reading about the Amalekites, right? Or if you're reading about the Canaanites, anything like this in the Old Testament, right? You can't take out the context and say, this is what it means. Therefore, I disagree. I do not like, right? Because if I did that with anything you have ever said in your entire life, right? You've said one sentence, and I took that one sentence, recorded it, and said, this is who he is as a person. And people said, oh no, we don't want him. We don't want him as a human being alive anymore. You'd be like, no, y'all took that out of context. That's not what I meant. So therefore, do not do the same thing with the Bible. You take verses out of context because you don't read the whole thing, because you're too lazy, truthfully, too lazy, or don't care, or you're taking talking points from people you've seen online, and you don't read the full chapter or the full verse or the full book. So you misplace verses and you post it online, like verse 18, and then you go tell people, look, this is who God is. No, that's not how context works. Take the whole book and actually read the whole book. Read the whole thing. And
And
then
why? And I
tell me
have a question.
what is the context in that? And then, since you said you read the whole thing, what is the context there?
But also, and not specifically towards Chuck, but I think that is so funny, because when we have these conversations, they love to use the Bible is contradictory, and let's look at this verse and pick it apart, right?
But they
Which
use
is
the
fine.
Bible.
Which is fine. They use the Bible. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in Jesus, but they use the Bible, which is fine. I can understand they're trying to cross examine or whatever, but they don't do this with the Quran, and they don't do this with the crystals, and they don't do this with the Hindus or the Buddhists, or nothing of that sort. Because at the end of the day, the reason the Bible is always the go-to, and the reason that Jesus is always under attack, and the reason that it causes such a disruption in the spirit, is because it has not been disproven.
Mm-hmm.
If so, then you please, Chuck, let's just go ahead and get away from the Bible. Let's start asking real logical questions amongst human beings. Where is Jesus's body? After all these years, after all this time, we're human beings. We have electric cars that drive themselves. Like, we have come to a place where innovation is at an all-time high, and we're just getting more advanced and more advanced and more advanced. So we need to start getting to a place where the Bible is disproven. Jesus, we have clear, concrete evidence of Jesus did not resurrect, and his body was actually found here. And here's the evidence. Because y'all always want evidence from us, but have no evidence to disprove what we believe. We have a doctrine, and we understand it, and we have faith in it, and we believe in it. And for you to not believe in anything and to take a risk to say, oh, it's completely fake and fairy tales, right? Disprove it to us.
Exactly.
Help us to understand, level with us, help us to see what you see. But you can't.
Exactly. Exactly. And see, this is what I mean by being fallacious and misunderstanding the text. Or actually, I'll say this: a lot of atheists, like Chuck here, right, are actually close-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it doesn't matter what evidence you give them. It doesn't matter what you say to them. It doesn't matter. God can literally perform a miracle right in front of them, and they'll still find an excuse not to believe it. Just like the Pharisees, just like the Sadducees, just like the scribes. So it does not matter what you say to them, right? It does not matter. It's not good enough for them because they don't want to believe. They do not care. So it's actually closed-mindedness. That's why one of my questions I actually have for every single atheist that comes up here is, are you an open-minded atheist or are you a closed-minded atheist? Because if you are closed-minded, you're too atheist for me. I can't talk to you. And the reason is because there's not one piece of evidence that can be given to you, even if Jesus himself came to you and said, I am God. You would still say, no, you're not. I'm hallucinating. Just like all the other atheist scholars, like your Richard Dawkins and all these people. These people say, oh, I thought that some type of evidence would get me to the point to where I would believe. And then they finally come to the conclusion and say, no, actually, no evidence would prove it to me because I'll just think I'm hallucinating of God if I really did hear God's voice. That's where you've gone to. You've gone so far, it doesn't matter what evidence has come to you. This is why he just said, look, Deuteronomy, he said, this is not a moral God. Again, fallacious. Why? It says, if a man happens to meet a virgin who is not plagued to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry. He must marry the woman he defiled. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her, and he can never divorce her as long as he lives. Where do you see injustice here?
Wait, I have a
Where
better.
do you see injustice here? He
Hold
said
on,
this is
Malik. I have a question. This is so humorous to me. So in this text, are we talking about God or are we talking about a man? Who rapes this
exactly.
woman? Who rapes
Exactly.
this woman? We have atheists have such an issue with God, proving how immoral God is. But you know what you do every time? You prove how immoral men are, how
Exactly.
man is. And to see us all stumble over one another to try to fight this accountability and get it away from me, get it away from me. A man rapes a woman, and God's and in this verse, he's saying, you are going to marry her. Since you
And you,
committed the act, this is how you're going to make it right. And because that's not what Chuck would do, right? That's not what you would do because you're more moral than that. But yet we have no conversation about the man who rapes the woman. That's
exactly.
we're not going to talk about those morals, right? We're not going to
Exactly.
talk about the man that went and decided to do that. Oh, but no, no. Oh, I completely forgot. That's God's fault. It's God's fault that that man raped the woman, right? Because he created him. And so then we go through this merry-go-round. So we can go ahead and skip forward. We go through this merry-go-round to say that maybe we should have never been created at all. Then that's what we
Exactly.
always end up, right?
That's exactly. They put themselves in a circle that they can never answer because they try to blame God. They always try to blame God for the actions of man. And then say, well, if he was a good God, he would not let this happen. Therefore, you want to be created as a robot. I don't want to be created as a robot. If that's what you want to be created as, then go be a robot. Go join a cult or something that says you can't do this unless I tell you to, because that's what you want. God isn't that way. He's telling this person here, whomever does this, you must marry the woman that you violated. It You have violated her, so either you're going to be stoned to death or you marry her and you can never divorce her. That sounds moral to me. That sounds very moral to me. That means he violated a woman, and God is telling them that you must make it right by marrying her, and you can never divorce her. No ifs and buts about it. So you tell me, where is that not moral. It makes no sense. That's what I mean about these fallacious arguments that they try to have, because they're closed. It's closed mindedness. It's
Well,
closed
a
minded.
better thing is Chuck, cam up.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all it's
But
gonna
he
be.
he
Cam
doesn't want to
up.
come on here. He doesn't want to come on here and actually have a conversation.
Don't
If you're
spam the
so
chat. Don't
yeah,
spam the chat. Cam up. Come talk. But you don't want to
exactly.
have a conversation, right? You want to
Hmm.
just start throwing verses and do this back and forth because you don't want anything to be productive because you want to stay in confusion. The
Yep.
itching ears. I'm telling you, you love it. You love to sit over here and talk about how bad God is. If God, even if the God, even if God was evil, right? You love it. You God is evil. He's so unjust. What does that benefit you?
You don't
What does it
believe.
benefit you to believe that God is evil? Does
It
it make
doesn't.
your life better? No.
That's what I'm
No, it
saying.
doesn't.
It's a belief of nothingness. So it doesn't matter for you. For you, it doesn't matter if God is good or evil, because your world is based off of nothingness. And I genuinely want to know, how can you live life
Look at this. Look.
with
This is
nothingness?
crazy. You didn't answer about the consent of the woman in the verse. Did the man care about the consent of the woman in the verse? What are you talking about? Do you really think a rapist should marry his victim? What are we doing here? Do you think that a man should be raping a woman at all?
Exactly.
There's many questions. But
This
are
is
these questions for
ridiculous.
God or the question for the man who raped the woman? The
This is
oh, the
ridiculous.
woman's rights, right? And that's why Jesus came. This is why Jesus came. Because now we understand that in the Old Testament there were so many misinterpretations. Why is that? Because of God? No, because the message was delivered from a man and men are imperfect.
Hmm. Yep.
Can we I am confused. Can we ask clarifying questions? Ask your clarifying questions. Matter of fact, cam up.
That's what I'm saying.
And
If
here we
you
are. And here we are. Back at the
join, join the
Come on,
discussion.
Darren.
I put the link in there. I
Come
put the
on,
link in
Darren.
there.
God made men do it. I love this circular conversation. I love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. This is what brainwashing does. Yeah, crazy man. You're sure right. Your name is right. You're just crazy. That's right. Brainwashing does do that to people. You are right.
Okay. See, okay. This right here, I can deal with this type of question right here. Kevin Tanner says, then how do you know what's corrupted and what isn't? This is a genuine question. And the reason I say a genuine question, because maybe this actually is a legitimate question, even for people who believe, right? How do you know what's corrupted and what isn't, right? The people saying that the Bible is corrupted are only going based off of their opinion, not based off of what is facts, because we have over 20,000 Greek manuscripts, Aramaic manuscripts, and in a few Hebrew manuscripts that state that 95%, over 95% of what was written in the original languages matches up to what is translated over into the English language today. So all of the Greek manuscripts, all of the Aramaic manuscripts we have, and all of the Hebrew manuscripts we have, 95% of the translation from those languages to English that we can read are 95% plus accurate. Therefore, the word of corruption is false. The reason that people say it's corrupted is only because they want to disagree with it. That's the reason why. They don't say it's corrupted because of anything that's based off of facts. Because if it was based off of facts, then they'll be able to pull the facts, not based off of how they feel about it. Why do you say the Bible's corrupted? Well, because I disagree with Jesus is the Son of God. That's just your opinion. That's not based off of the actual translations, the actual proof if the Bible is corrupted or not. It's not corrupted.
Darren,
It's
give your
only
give your
corrupted
facts
in your
then.
mind.
We need to do homework. Darren, go ahead and give us your. We'll post them. Go ahead and give us your factual information then.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us your facts since we need
Mm-hmm.
to do homework. You tell me
And we'll wait
your.
on that since you because we asked you to come up and you said I really would if I was available, but you're still here. So go ahead and put your facts in the chat. We would love to hear them.
Yeah, yeah. I want to know what facts you're talking about because it is a fact that we have over 20,000 Greek manuscripts. You actually know, that we have more original manuscripts for Christianity than we do any any other religion in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Any other in the entire world. That is a fact. Google it, ChatGPT it, whatever you want to do to try to disprove it. I promise you, you cannot disprove that we have more manuscripts for the proof of Christianity than we do any other religion in the entire world. So you want to talk about do some homework on that
Here we
because
go,
that is
Chuck.
a fact.
See, and let me just bring some clarity. Do you think it's moral or good for a rapist to marry his victim? So this is why we are trying to help y'all to understand that you don't understand the Bible. You don't know what you're talking about. And so because you don't know what you're talking about and you only can interpret it from your new age mindset, you don't even understand that in Hebrew, the rape is not even talking about rape as we understand it. It's
Mhm.
talking about premarital
Mhm.
sex. It's talking about taking a hold of. Look at the origins of the Hebrew language.
It's called deflowering a
Yes.
woman. When
So
you
when you're,
deflower someone,
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, that's what it is. It's deflowering someone.
They're
And
using that word for the context of the time. But when you look at the origin, yeah, you can't read. No, it's not gaslighting. You don't understand because you're only looking at it from 2026 or whenever you say you've read the Bible fully, but you obviously don't understand because that's what Malik was telling you prior to your comment. You have to look at the fact that these are written in different languages and from the origin. I could bring it up now. Let's look
in
at what the Hebrew, let's look at the Hebrew word.
what are you talking about? This dude said, I didn't say just Greek, sir. I didn't say just Greek. We have Greek, we have some Aramaic, and we have some Hebrew. That's what I said. I said we have over
So,
20,000 manuscripts.
so
Over
in
20,000 manuscripts.
in Hebrew, the word is taphas, taphas. It does not necessarily mean violent, rape. It means to take hold of, often understood by many scholars as referring to seduction or premarital sex, not forcible assault. But because you're closed minded and you don't understand, you're automatically going to deem something from your own judgment and your own perspective with no context and no valuable knowledge to help you to understand the character of God because you don't want to understand the character of God.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, you right here.
That's the
No,
whole point of what she.
you right here. Okay. You got to think, baby. You got to think. You got to think. And I'm not saying you got to think a lot. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying you got to think a lot. I'm saying you just got to think a little bit. Because even here, we're having a discussion. Cam up. Cam up. Y'all are here texting, but you don't want to have a verbal conversation because you're not quick witted. You can't think. Because how in your mind, there's no word for rape in ancient Hebrew. Okay. I just told you the word. I just told you the word. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so I think a lot of them think that they have to have an actual camera to get on here. No, all you need is audio. You don't have to actually have a camera like us. All you need is audio. If you click the link, it'll tell you to. As long as you have audio, like on TikTok, you can join someone's live and you can just use your phone and voice or whatever you want to do. You can just use your voice. You don't have to actually have a camera. Oh,
no
now
audio either. We know. Because we know. We knew before you even said that. Chuck, we don't have to answer your question as fast as you're typing because if you can't get on the mic and you can't come and talk, we'll answer it when we get to it. I don't care how many times you type it. So just calm down.
He's saying tell us the context. Is it okay for her to have to marry? Yes. Do you not understand what period of time you're talking about? Now, because you live in the 21st century, a woman losing her virginity in the 21st century to you means nothing. That's the reason why you don't understand the context, since you want to talk about intelligence. Use your intelligence. Does your intelligence tell you that in 2021, virginity is more important today, or was it more important back then? What does your intelligence tell you? I'll wait for you to answer that.
And it's funny because you say you're putting down our intelligence. These are your words. I'm talking to you about what you're saying. I find it not to be that thoughtful.
Again,
But it's condescending. It's hold on. It's condescending when someone gives you the same type of notions that you're giving. But here, let's rewind. Because you don't understand why we're insulting your intelligence, right? Let's rewind. Sorry for the unicorn trope. I learned it from Christians. I'm not convinced. You've already come in here with your
condescending tone.
condescending tone.
Exactly.
So
Now
how do
that
you
we're
want
giving
somebody to
now
talk
that
to
we're
you?
giving it back to you, you want to say that we're condescending when you started the condescending. But now that we're giving it back to you, you're upset about it.
Oh, here we go. I love you guys. I love atheists. Leprechauns don't exist either. I love y'all. Y'all are funny.
They're talking about everything but disproving that Jesus is God. They're talking about everything but
Darius,
proving.
I asked this, where is Jesus' body? Could you please provide me some information on what scholar or where they've discovered Jesus' body? Because if you can disprove that he resurrected, we can have a real conversation. Now, leprechauns, you are right about that. They don't exist.
Yeah, even if we don't take it to the
Why do you want to hear about the Bible? You don't believe in God.
you don't
We're
even believe
talking
in
to
God.
you,
Why
and we
would
we
that
opened we opened the conversation saying that we were
for
going to have
your
a conversation about your perspectives. Why do you want to talk about the Bible?
you don't believe in the Bible. So it doesn't matter what I say, what we tell you, you don't believe in the Bible. That's why we're asking, what is your perspective? And the only thing you can do is say, well, the Bible said you don't believe in the Bible. So how can you disprove God without using my Bible? You can't. You can't. Oh my goodness. And
Well,
even if you don't use Christ's resurrection, right? Disprove the origin of the church. Disprove the origin of the church. Why was the church established the way it was established? Because the people who were there at the time in the place of his resurrection, they really believed and they really died for what they said they saw. So much so that it started the church. They truly believed that they saw the dead Christ risen from the dead. So disprove the origin of the church. The origin of the church is they said that they saw the Christ risen. This is how the church started. So
that's history, Chuck.
disprove the resurrection and disprove the origin of the church. Because the origin of the church says they really believed that Christ had died and resurrected, and they were willing to die because of what they said that they saw.
I Darius. No. You can't answer a question with a question. Don't talk. We're not talking about the goddess of
Yeah, we don't,
Athene.
we
No, no,
don't care about
no.
these
Answer
fake.
my question. Where is Jesus' body? Go research that, and then we'll answer your question. We'll talk about all that, sure, for fun. But before you ask me a question, you're going to answer my question. Where is Jesus' body? Tell me.
He said, I can prove your God doesn't exist. Understand how a woman's body works.
Well,
What
that's
does that
funny
mean?
seeing that he created the woman's body. Please, let's talk about that. That is interesting.
goodness. Oh, how can you prove it then? How can you prove that God doesn't exist? You have yet to say it. No one has yet to say it. No one has
Darius,
said how they can.
stop, Darius, stop moving the goalposts. The origin of the church. No, answer the question that we asked you specifically. You. Nobody else can answer. Darius, father of Xerxes.
This is one of the most contradicting sentences I've ever seen from an atheist. The Bible is a part of history. That's why atheists read it. I'm trying not
There
to
is
laugh.
no contemporary evidence that Yahshua, and that's not how you spell it, ever existed. Okay. There's
Oh,
no
oh
evidence.
my good. Now
There's no evidence.
that's a
No, I
super
love it.
atheist.
Hold on.
That is
Just tie it together. As we see the comment on the screen, the Bible is a part of history, but there's no contextual evidence. Two atheists. Now Chuck and Darius, y'all need to talk to each
contradicting each
other.
other.
Y'all need to
Two
talk to
atheists
each other
contradicting. Yeah.
because
He
your
said.
perspectives.
Where he said? He said. What he said? He said there is no contemporary evidence that Yahshua ever existed. And then this guy says the Bible is a part of history. That's why atheists read it. And what is history? History is evidence of something that actually has happened, right? History is events that actually happened, right? So for something to be a part of history, that means it really existed,
It's okay.
right?
Give them. Let's just say Darius doesn't.
Abraham Lincoln was a part of history, right? George Washington was a part of history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying Jesus is a part of history because Jesus is in the Bible.
Well, no, we have to say that he never existed. We have to say he never existed because we don't know where the body is. The resurrection can't be disproven. So he never existed. He never existed. Just like there's nothing after this. So none of my actions matter. Nothing I do matters. No morals are necessary. We're not really functioning in our own thought processes. It's chemical synapses making us do what we do. And so we've heard it all before. But we understand the perspective is cowardice.
Buddy, you need to do some. Now, what was the dude's name earlier?
5, this one 5 kid.
Yeah. That
Him.
him, and not all.
We
It
already
was
read Deuteronomy. Are you a little late? We already read this. Malik brought it up on the screen.
exactly. This dude says that the origin of the church was created by Constantine. This is false. This is 100% false. Who did you take this thought process from? Who did you learn this from? Because this is false. This is 100% false. You said 325 AD is how the origin of the church started. Do you know that the Catholic Church and Catholics existed way before 325 AD? Tell me, go and just type it in on Google real quick. Go say, when was Catholic Church started? What was the origin of Catholics? It's not 325. It's way before Constantine. So whatever you got this from, you need to go tell them they lied to you. Because even the Catholic Church was established way before this. We're talking about 200 plus years before this. What are you talking about?
Read Deuteronomy for 5 kid.
Which one?
Deuteronomy 22:13 through 21.
22:13 through 21.
Mm-hmm.
You want us to read a whole passage. Okay. It says, if a man takes a wife after sleeping with her, dislikes her and slanders her, and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity. This is the same one that dude said last night. It says, then the young woman's father and mother shall bring to the town elders at the gate. Proof that she was a virgin. Her father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin. But here is the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloak before the elders of the town, and the elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because this man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. If, however, the charge is true and no proof of the young woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the men of her town shall stone her to death. She has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous while still in the father's house. You must purge the evil from among you. So, what is he asking about this?
What is it telling you?
What is it? What is it telling me?
Mm-hmm.
What it's saying is verbatim. You have a man who marries a woman. He is saying that he does not believe she is a virgin, therefore he does not want to be with her anymore. So now they must come forth from the count to the council of the Israelites, of the Jews, and he says, hey, I think she's not a virgin, and her parents say we gave her to him knowing that she is a virgin. And if there's proof that she is a virgin, then he will be fined and he will have to be with her for the rest of his life. There is no divorcing her. But if she's lying, then she will be stoned to death because she has, one, lost her virginity, which means she has committed a sin. Because she had lost her virginity before marriage, because she was not married. So
Mm-hmm.
this is why they say the evil has to be put away, because she was stoned. Because if they find proof she was not a virgin, this means she has lost her virginity. This means she has had sex with outside of marriage. This is sinful. Fornication.
Um, Kid five, whatever your name is, just ask the question. You're trying to bait us to answer something that you want to ask. Just ask it.
I don't. This is very. This is kindergarten reading. This is very straightforward. What it's who is telling the truth and who's not. It's that simple. Is the woman telling the truth, or is the man telling the truth? And there is a result for both. If the man is telling the truth, this will happen to her. If the woman is telling the truth, this will happen to him. It's pretty straightforward. It's self-explanatory. It's third grade reading. I don't understand what's so hard about understanding that, other than you may not like it. But what you may and may not like is not up to your discretion. You're not the judge or the executioner. Just like if someone committed a crime and you didn't like the punishment that they got, it wasn't up to you to decide. It was the judge who decided, not you. So what's your question about this? Because it's very simple and explanatory. Straight to the point, honestly.
Darius, that's used out of context. Matthew 10:34.
Why is he
But
jumping? He didn't he just wanted us to read Deuteronomy?
it
Or
wasn't him.
oh, it was in
We
P.
read Deuteronomy. It was clear and straightforward. But this is my whole thing. This is my whole thing about it. Any of the Old Testament, I don't disregard the Old Testament at all. I think that the Old Testament had a certain tone to it and a law based on the actions of the people at the time, and also based on the time period and what was regulated at that time and how those things were put in place and executed based on the time frame. People are refined through time. We're not the same society as we was 2000 years ago, and the laws are completely different. There were certain laws that were available and that were acceptable at certain times, and that have now been ruled out today. So while we depend on Jesus so much, and while we advocate for Jesus, the New Testament, and the way that Jesus puts things in place, is because the clarity that Jesus provides of God's moral law. That's what we abide by, and that's what we understand, and that's why we keep talking about Jesus. That's why Christianities advocate for Jesus based on his clarity and his advocacy for human beings. And
And
so,
also his biggest claim, yet, answering this, people believe Thor threw thunderbolts. That's history, not true. And I would say, do you want to know what is the difference between Jesus Christ and Thor? Jesus claimed to be God. Name me another being, another person that claimed to be God, that their movement is still alive. Again, I'll say it again. Name me another being, another person who claimed to be God and their movement still exists today. Because when a man dies, his movement dies.
and Kid Five, I know you ain't talking about intelligence. Please.
There's not
Please.
another human being, there's not another God that exists, and their movement dies. Their movement dies. When I die, I'm going to be long gone. No one's going to remember me. But 100 years from now, they're still going to remember the name of Christ. You know why? Because he's really God. He really existed. He really died, and he really resurrected. So name me another being that claimed to be God.
No, dearies, that's not what we're doing tonight. We're not talking about is Jesus God. You understand that that's our perspective. It's black and white. You tell us why he's not. And all of your perspectives, even here. Here we go. Jesus stated that he came to abolish the Old Testament law or the prophets, but to fulfill them. He did not. That he did not claim. And we never said that he did. I literally came and said clarity, clarity to fulfill them. 1 second.
Now, at least he admitted this.
I'll be right back.
Well, at least you admitted this right here, boss. He says you're right about Constantine. See, this is what we want to do. We want to have an actual conversation where we can admit things if someone is right or if someone is wrong. And I'm specifically talking about when it comes to the Bible, all these different things, because it's a false narrative out there stating that Constantine started all these different types of things when he didn't. Catholics existed before Constantine. So Constantine did not start the church. The church started with Peter. Pentecost. The church started when Christ ascended back to heaven, and Peter was the rock. This is how the church started, and people really died. I think that this is another reason why I can't fathom how people say this is false. Do you not understand the history of Christianity? Early Christians died. Early Christians were being beheaded, not jokingly. It wasn't a joke. Early Christians died for saying that they believed what they saw, and yet still didn't deny it. So for people to say this is false, this is not true, so you're telling me thousands on thousands on thousands of people believed in something that they were hallucinating about, so much so that they were willing to die for it. Explain that to me. Explain to me how all of these people aligned in a belief in something, so much so that they were willing to be beheaded, they were willing to be sworded, they were willing to be thrown off cliffs, they were willing to be burned, they were willing to do anything necessary except deny what they believed about Jesus Christ. And you telling me that that's a joke? It's not a joke to die. I don't think anyone in this chat is ready to die. Nobody. I don't think anybody in this chat is ready to die today, right now, at this very second. These people were ready to die, ready to be beheaded because of what they said that they saw with their own eyes, and they were told to deny it. If you deny it, you will live. And they did not deny it, so they were killed, they were martyred, they were murdered, they were executed. And you tell me this is fake. If they were trying to make something a pretty story, they wouldn't tell you a pretty story about them being persecuted. Persecution is not a pretty story. So the Bible is telling you these people really died, really were beheaded. So if I wanted to make up a story, I wouldn't tell you a story about me being beheaded just because I want to make it up and sound cute. That's what I don't understand. A lot of atheists have closed minds because they aren't actually thinking. Does it actually make sense to make up a story talking about I'm going to be beheaded if I believe this? I want to get people to believe in it, so I'm going to make up a story about being beheaded. That makes zero sense. If I'm going to make up a story, I'm going to make up a story to make me sound good. That's what humans do. If you were to write a own book about yourself as an atheist, I promise you, you wouldn't make up a story that's going to make you sound like you need to humble yourself. You're going to make a story about yourself to make yourself sound good as an atheist. That's what you're going to do. These people were beheaded, martyred for what they said that they saw. Think about that. If 1,000 people today came to you right now and they all said, we believe in Jesus Christ as Lord, and people behind them were chasing them and said, hey, if you say that again, we're going to kill you. And all 1,000 of them said, we're not going to deny it. And you saw all 1,000 of them being killed right in front of you. Would you then believe? Would you at least look into why did all 1,000 of them right before my eyes didn't just say they didn't believe it? Or would you say, what could this really mean for me to witness 1,000 people in front of me not just simply deny something, they were willing to die for it? What could that mean? What could that mean that they were all willing to die right before my eyes instead of denying something? It's simple. It's simple to deny something. It's simple to say Jesus Christ is not God. It's simple to say Jesus Christ didn't resurrect it. So why didn't they say that? Because they really saw what they said they saw, so much so that they were willing to die for it. This is how the church started. It wasn't Constantine. And if you want to do your history, Constantine was actually a convert. He converted over. God used Constantine to push up Christianity, not make it. Constantine was just another tool like everybody else. He was a tool that was used to push Christianity.
Darius, you don't know history either. So that's what I'm saying. We can go back and forth. You don't know history at all either. So you can have your perspective. You don't know history. I don't know history. That's fine, right? We can go back and forth. But
So,
regardless,
Lonnie,
we have a doctrine that we believe in and you don't. So between your disbelief and you not able to advocate for your disbelief and say, oh, I believe that Christ does not exist based on what? Your perspective. Just like everybody has a perspective.
yeah,
That's where we're at with it.
he said you are correct. It was before 325. He was probably talking about when Rome took control of the Christian religion. Exactly. That's why I said God used Constantine, because Rome had power over Christianity because they were killing them. If you look at the history of it, they were killing them. And Constantine was a part of outlawing this, outlawing killing of Christians. That's
And
why God used him. Constantine believed that he was Christ. The reason why Constantine is such an important figure for people, and they think he started it because of Constantine's level of power as a man. He had a level of power as a man, and this shows you the power of Christ, because as high a level of that Constantine was, he still submitted to Jesus Christ. So much so that he started changing the narrative of how Christianity was sought after, and killing Christians, all these different things. And he had a very high status, but he knew that there was something above him.
And Melody, this is not a emotional conversation. It's not an emotional argument. Somebody willing to die for something is an argument based in logic. We are creatures of survival. So to say that I'm willing to put my life on the line for X, Y, or Z, it doesn't have to do with emotion. It has to do with reality. And that's what we're talking about here tonight, reality, whether you want to believe it or not. Your perspective to believe or not believe is fine. But when someone is willing to end their life based on an external experience, then you have to have a real logical conversation about that.
Yeah.
Jonestown people died. Yes, they did. Did they die for their faith? I
Says
don't.
Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Bless, amen. Romans 10:9. If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Amen.
Exactly, Brian. This is exactly what we're saying. There's a complete difference because there died because of standoff with police over a gun law being broken. This is something that is completely different than me being able to say I did not see it. If you say you did not see it, you'll live. That's a completely different instance. This is something that is easy. Even if I did see it, if I seen something in this life, we're not talking about God. If I seen something in this life and he say, well, if you say you seen it, I'm going to kill you. My brain will start to say, well, you know what? I might just say I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I might just say I didn't see it.
Yep. There has to be something that is more divine and more powerful that you believe in for you to naturally go against death. Because people don't want to die. That is the truth. People do not want to die. So for people, if someone says, hey, say you don't like ice cream, and if you don't say you don't like ice cream, then I'm gonna unalive you. I say, well, shoot, I don't like ice cream. Because what
Are we
substance
above
of
lying?
ice
When have human beings ever been above lying? When? I'm being serious. When have we been above lying for our life? Like, it's true. It's a very true perspective to dive into. It doesn't have to do with emotion though. Here we go. I love
they
it. No, I
what
love
are
it.
they are they
I
delusional?
love
Hold on.
it.
Hold on. He says there's no way to tell if a woman is slash was a
He's talking
virgin.
about Deuteronomy.
Yeah. Not all women bleed their. What are y'all talking about? Where in the verse does it say anything about a first time of anything? Y'all are just putting stuff in there just because you want to make it say something, because you're listening to people trying to uh uh uh
Well, let's hold
just
on. Let me read it again. Let me read this again because we had this. I want to read it because we're talking about the woman bleeding, right? An indication of her virginity is
yes,
her
but
bleeding.
the reason I say it doesn't matter because it's a fallacious argument that has nothing to do with what the text is actually saying.
If a man takes a wife and after sleeping with her dislikes her and slanders her and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity. Then the young woman's father and mother shall bring her to the town's elders at the gate. Proof that she was a virgin. Her father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin, but here is proof of your daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloth before the elders of the town, and the elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall find him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because this man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. Okay. What is the question? What is the question?
It's not a question. That's what I'm saying.
What is
It's a
the question?
there isn't a question. What they're saying is God doesn't know if a woman bleeds or doesn't bleed. It's honestly it's a dumb argument
Okay,
because this
Chuck,
is
what
not what the
about the
text is
sheep?
about.
What about the sheep? Okay. So the question is, does God understand what a virgin is?
Yes, that's they're saying that he doesn't know anything. That's what they're basically saying.
So does God understand what a virgin is? Because in this scenario, in this instance, they're trying to prove her virginity by a bloody cloth. Is
Hmm.
that okay?
No. That's the
That
assumption. That's
that's the
their
assumption
assumption.
from right. That's what they're trying. That's the question, because I keep asking Chuck or Five to ask a plain question, and he said you're so unintelligent, you don't understand the context. You didn't ask a question. I don't understand the question.
Hmm.
Here we go. Unicorns, leprechauns. What does the text say? It's what he said. Drink the pepper says. It's what the text says, but what does it say? What are you implying?
That's what I'm saying. They're trying to make it
You're
say
getting the
something.
question correct. Okay, so the question is, does God not understand how a woman's body works? Come on, man.
That's what I said.
Because I remember you had this conversation with the other guy last stream, and when he was so passionate about it, then I wanted to really read it. It's implying that the sheet test is not a reliable. He is implying that the sheet test is not a reliable method. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Who's implying that God is? Why is God okay with the death of an innocent virgin woman in the Old Testament? Is he not all knowing? Why is God? This question is very interesting to me. And I really want to get into it because you had this conversation with another guy and I didn't really understand what the anger that he had behind it. So in this text, they're trying to say that if the woman was not a virgin, she shouldn't be put to death. Is the test sheet a reliable method? Is the sheet test a reliable method that we should still be? Let me look this up. Let's see what the scholars say about this one. We're not scholars, but I'm really interested in this because this is something that this is a real question. The atheists always bring up this scripture here, so I want to know. Let's see what Blue Book says. Go ahead, man. I'm just gonna look this up. You go ahead with what you were saying. My bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm stating is they don't understand what's going on here. It's not about if she was a virgin or if she's not a virgin. The context about this is who is being fallacious or not. Is the woman being fallacious or is the man being fallacious? That's what this is about. What it's about is the man lying on her name or is she lying before her husband? That's what this is about.
Scholars say that
It's
ancient
called
Near Eastern, huh?
Yo, go ahead. I said it's called a cloth test. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Ancient Near Eastern culture placed heavy social and economic value on virginity. The law was actually structured to protect women from false accusations which could destroy their lives. The evidence language likely reflected the cultural understanding of the time, not a scientific claim from God about anatomy. The sheet test is ancient cultural assumptions, legal protection structures, but not a biological guarantee. and then Jesus came to reframe purity and righteousness in the New Testament. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I really I wanted to look into it to see what it is that the debate is about, but Jesus did come to clarify for people with the misunderstanding, because we do have to understand that this law is given by man. This is not God speaking from the sky. This is a man giving a law that he's Moses is saying that this is the law from God. And so with this, man is subjected to misunderstanding. Yet and still, this doesn't talk about that. We're not advocating for anything other than what God is saying in this context, which is, if a woman does this, if a woman lies, here's her punishment. If a man lies, here's his punishment, which is the overall perspective of this text. It has less to do with the cloth test and the scientific anatomy that y'all are trying to say God doesn't understand. That's not the purpose of the
That's
text
what
at
I'm
all.
saying. The whole point of this has nothing to do with the cloth test.
I
It's
never said that it
about
was a word. I said that it's delivered from a man, Vanessa. It's delivered from a
it's
man. I didn't
about
say
the
that it was.
violation. Is the man slandering her name, right? And giving her a bad name, or is the woman promiscuous and she has had sex outside of marriage? Therefore, she was already deflowered, not telling her husband, and is in fact committing evil. Right? This is a serious violation. This is why this passage is called marriage violations. It's not about the test. It's not about the test. It's about the heart. That's what it's about. Is the man's heart a lying spirit, or is the woman's heart a lying spirit? That's what this is about. That's why I didn't even want to go into this, because they're they're they're
Well,
they're not
if
going.
you
They're not.
avoid it, if you avoid having the conversation, then it seems as though there's some type of, oh, but no one wants to talk about Deuteronomy. And so I really wanted to delve in to understand what the, disconnection between the text and what people are reading is. And overall, it has way less to do with the cloth test. Oh, the cloth test, and more to do with honesty and reputation at that
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of. I have yet to see one of you guys. You guys are making a lot of claims and a lot of things like, oh, you guys don't have the intelligence to understand. Come up here and talk then. Since you're so smart, you're so smart. Come up here and have a conversation.
He don't want to. I already asked him. I already asked Kid Father to come up. He said no. Can you define God? Can you? Can you? I would
Yeah,
love to
yeah.
understand
I could
your
define.
perspective.
I could define God.
But before you do, because again, we're this is not about our perspective. This is about your perspective as an atheist. You cannot. So because you have no perception of God, you want me to define a God that you don't believe in, and so therefore you can't define him. You don't understand or have any perspective of God, but you want us to give a perspective when you don't believe in him. That's another
It's
circular conversation.
it's easy. Define.
Go ahead.
Can you
Go
define?
ahead. You can. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. There you go. That's your definition. This is that simple. Can you define God? Yes. Jesus Christ. That's the definition of God. He who does not believe that I am he will die in his sins. That's
No,
John.
it's not. That's not an example. That's clearly the definition. Who or what is God? Jesus Christ. It's not an example. It's not an example.
Yeah, it's not an example. It's literal. Jesus is literally God. Therefore, how do you define God? Jesus.
There is no other example of God.
Jesus.
But
Die, resurrect.
don't foretell your eternity. Don't do that. Even
Jesus
if you
said
feel as
that.
though it's lighthearted,
No, no, I don't even think they don't understand what that means. That's why even Jesus, when he died on that cross, he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do." When she says, "Then I'll die in my sins," she doesn't even understand what that means. She doesn't understand what that actually means. So I actually feel for her
they
and
keep
feel
saying
feel
They keep
sad
saying
for her.
the burden of proof is on you. The burden of proof is on you. Atheists cannot disprove God. That's the title, isn't it? Is that
Mm-hmm.
what it says?
That's the joke.
So it's not. Because we're asking you a question. We're on here asking you to disprove God. We told you what we believe in.
You want to know why? You want to know why the burden of proof is on the atheist? You want to know why? Because there is more people in the
That's good.
entire.
So disprove it. If you know the stories, you were a
Exactly.
Christian for 30 years, that's fine.
I
And
bet you.
and
I
you
bet
out
you.
of all people can disprove because you understand.
I bet you the reason that she's not a believer, or who, if he or she, Melody, I can bet you that the reason they're not a believer anymore is because of personal experience, not because of God. Personal experience. The church, this. My mom, this. My dad, this. People do this. Man does this. Man failed me. Therefore, because man failed me and they said that they believe in Christ, that means God has failed me. No. I can almost guarantee it. The reason you don't believe is because man failed you and you blame God for it. That is 95% of the time what happens to people who say I was a believer and then now I'm not. Man failed you and you tried to blame God for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like saying, I use this as an example all the time. That's like saying Michael Jackson is a great singer. Therefore, if someone comes after him and tries to sing Michael Jackson songs, but they suck, you're going to go to Michael Jackson and say, Michael Jackson was a bad singer because the people who said that they love him and tried to duplicate his songs, they suck. Therefore, Michael Jackson sucks. No, that makes zero rational sense. Makes no sense at all. You wouldn't say that because someone who's trying to duplicate Michael Jackson and they
Melody,
weren't good at it.
when you're texting, do you understand that you're very contradictory? Blame what? How can I blame something I don't believe in? You just said you were going to die in your sins. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
And you
Slow
said
down. Slow down, Texas. Slow down.
and you said that you were a believer. At one point, you said for 30 years you were a believer. So you blamed something in order for you to not be a believer. Because you just said for 30 years I was a believer and now you're not. So there's something that happened in that 30 years that you blamed for the reason why you're not a believer. Yes or no?
It's kind of like the same thing I was telling Nitty. There's a lost feeling, especially I don't accredit the same, you know, level of scrutiny to a person who's never believed versus a person who once did. What's up, Jason? Finally, Jason, no cam.
Let's add Mr. Jason to the stage. You are on stage, Jason.
If you're talking, we can't hear you, Jason.
You
Hello.
talking?
What's
Yeah.
up, Jason? How are you?
Yeah, your audio went out again. Hello? Maybe if your audio is messed up, maybe try to refresh or exit and then come back in because we can't hear anything you're saying. If you're saying anything. So I'm gonna remove you real quick, Jason, but rejoin because maybe your connection is not working properly.
You gotta kick him.
Yeah, just rejoin, Jason, because I don't think your audio was working properly. Try to exit, refresh, and then rejoin. Try to rejoin. Lonnie said they can't do it.
Lonnie,
They can't Lonnie, you know they can't do it, man. They cannot. They cannot disprove God. The only thing that they can do is everything is based off of opinion. It's based off of opinion, right? Not based off of any facts.
But also, and I fall short of this all the time. We have to stop getting caught up in being the most intelligent, the most smart, the most. I've read everything, and do you know about this, and do you know about that, and this and that. Regardless, we're coming straight from the Bible on
Mm.
our end. You're going to have to cite and understand your sources on yours, but we're not going to have to understand your sources or your sightings because it's not our belief system. You believe in nothing. We want
Right.
to understand why. We want to understand why you do not believe in God, and yet you will use sources of something you don't believe in, and then you'll go and one atheist will say, well, it's history, and the other one will say, well, it's not. Because there's no belief system, there's no line in y'all's belief system. There's just subjectiveness, what I believe and what he believes and what they believe. You know what I'm saying?
He
And
said,
so that's
prove
why it's confusing.
prove Yahshua was God. Okay. Let's prove that he was God. Just real quick. It's literally just gonna take just one verse. One verse. In order to go to heaven, in order to go to heaven, what must you believe? Who do you need to believe in to go to heaven? Just general.
Jesus,
No, no, in
Jesus,
general. No, in general. Who do you need? What do you need to believe in to go to heaven?
God,
What?
God.
Okay. So we all know universally that you must believe in God to go to heaven, right? Jesus doesn't say believe in God and go to heaven. Jesus says, this is red lettering. This means the words of Jesus Christ. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? Jesus is saying, he didn't say, believe in God and you'll live. Believe in God, even though your body will die, you will live. No, he said, believe in me. Believe in me and you shall live. He is claiming to be God based off of the word choices he used. He said that your faith must be put in him in order for you to live. In order for you to go to heaven, we all know you got to believe in God. Jesus is saying, believe in me. Therefore, he's claiming to be God.
What's up, Jason? Let's hear if your mic is working.
You hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
hear.
yeah.
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
How
How
are
are
you?
you?
Good. I'm doing great. Great.
Are you just real quick? Are you a atheist or
Yes. Yes.
okay? You're atheist. Okay. And then I just had three opening questions. You said you're atheist. Are you open-minded atheist or closed-minded atheist?
Oh, I'm always open-minded.
Open-minded. Okay, that's what I like to hear. Positive. And then do you believe in the brain or the mind?
Mind is to me is just like I believe that your brain exists, and I think that the mind is there's a term I'm searching for. It's just a process that comes out of the collection that is your mind. So like as I mean, I wouldn't know exactly how to explain it, but
Well, I guess I make it more simple. Like, do you believe that your brain is a function in itself, and then your mind has a function?
no,
Mean,
no, I don't think they're separate, or I'm not dualist or anything. I think that that's
but you
all.
believe
It's
that they
all.
both exist.
Yeah, I think they're the same thing.
Okay, okay. Hey, we got two of the three that I'm excited to talk to you because those are the two questions: open-mindedness and do you believe in brain and mind? So you said yes. I'm excited.
So where can I guess can I direct this? I guess a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
How,
yeah. Go
how do I
ahead. Yeah,
start?
that
Okay.
was just two questions I had real quick. Go
So
ahead.
I kind of wanted to talk about get back to the sheet test, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So from my understanding of what the text says is that uh, if a man accuses his wife in marriage that she's not a virgin, they then bring forth the if the woman wants to be proven true that she's not lying, she has to bring forth the cloth, correct? And so if the cloth has blood on it, then she was a virgin, and therefore the man is lying. And if there is no blood on any cloth, then the woman was not a virgin, and the punishments come as they are. Is that all? Is that all correct here?
So the cloth was actually, it wasn't just a cloth that they said, hey, you're married now, so we're gonna prepare this cloth. So this
no, I understand. It's just the bed sheet, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, but it was a tradition for them. So they actually had these things prepared even before they give their daughters away at this period in time. Before they gave their daughters away, they actually had these cloths prepared. That's the reason why they would go get it from their home, because they were already prepared for, if this were to happen, we already have proof, because they're preparing for if this happens.
Are you saying really quickly, sorry, that the cloth, when they bring it, already has blood on it, or what are you saying?
No. What I'm saying is the cloth was actually proving the when they had their daughter, before they give their daughters off, they actually are preparing for if she actually is a virgin or not. Because before they give their daughters away, the parents themselves, usually the fathers and the men in the town, actually are trying to make sure that even their own daughter or daughters are virgin themselves. So they're actually trying to protect their own name. So they test themselves with their daughters.
How would they test? How are they testing?
Sorry, say it again.
How are they? Well, you said they test them. So how are they testing? The fathers.
With the cloth.
Well, how does the cloth get blood on it?
Well, it never said that the cloth had blood on it.
It doesn't. What?
No, I'm saying in this verse, when we're talking about this verse has nothing to do with talking about blood. Can you find me where it says anything about blood?
Well, that's the implication, is that the cloth on their wedding night, when they seal the marriage, the cloth is what's going to prove whether or not she's a virgin.
Yeah, but what's on the cloth?
The cloth, it would be blood, is what's implied.
No. I think that's the misunderstanding. That the cloth itself, right? If she's a virgin, right, like they say she is, then she would have never experienced blood at all. Why? Because she's a virgin. Therefore, there's no chance. They're bringing forth a cloth that is not blooded.
So okay, really quick. You think, or not? What you're saying is that there is a cloth that she's already been sleeping on, and that since there's no blood on the cloth, that proves that for the whole time leading up into that moment, she is a virgin to that point.
Yes. So what they're testing is what they're proving is my daughter has been a virgin since birth.
We made the cloth.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Because the only way she can get blood on the cloth is she would have to have sex if she was going to bleed, right? So they're presenting it saying, hey, she has never had blood on her cloth.
Okay, so you just said the way that blood gets on the cloth is if she has sex or not, correct?
No, I'm saying if it even does happen, but they're presenting it saying she has never experienced this.
So you're saying this is more a point of whether or not she is like on her period, or whether or not she is a virgin?
No, whether or not she is a virgin, because eventually, would she or would she not bleed eventually?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yes. So the point of it is the cloth that they're bringing forth is a cloth that is clear. She has had this cloth since she has been of age. Because it was a tradition for them. So they're bringing forth, hey, we cut this cloth when she was, let's say, 9 years old. We're giving her away at 18 years old. We have the same cloth from when she was 9 all the way till she was 18. And eventually, when she gets with her husband, she will eventually, whether it was the first time, second time, third time, eventually she will end up bleeding. Therefore, there would be a blooded cloth after the fact. So they're presenting it saying, hey, she has been clear since we have made this cloth. Rather, and some, depending on the for families, it would be different. Some of them may have started when the daughter was 6 to 18. Some of them may have started when she was 9 to 18, but they're preparing themselves for if this happens. And they would prepare themselves traditionally years ahead of time. Just so that we've had this.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You. I just wanted to ask, I'd never heard that interpretation before, and I think it's really, really interesting. I wanted to know what are some sources I could look into to corroborate all that.
So yeah, you can actually look into like scholars. So you can look into pretty much any Protestant or Catholic scholar, of. But I would actually.
Well, I mean, I'd hope it would be some type of anthropologist or an archaeologist or something rather than a just.
No. The reason I'm saying them is because they would more know the traditions of an ethnic Jew, right? So I'm not science is one part, but what I'm talking about is the traditions of an ethnic Jew, what they traditionally would do. So the best way to find out what a ethnic Jew did traditionally 2,000 years ago is to go to the source of an ethnic Jew, or to go to a scientist that has no idea the traditions of an ethnic Jew.
Why would the source of an ethnic Jew be a Catholic or a Protestant?
No. I'm saying you can go to these type of scholars.
Oh, okay.
And I was gonna say, before you said that, I was gonna say, or you can go traditionally to an ethnic Jew, and you can go to their traditions.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really care about the person itself as long as the evidence holds. But yeah, if you have like anyone in particular in mind where I can go read about this, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Let me get you.
I mean, because my understanding was that the cloth is sitting. It's basically their bed sheet on the night where they go to seal the marriage. And if the woman bleeds when the bride and the groom, if she bleeds, then that's proof that she was a virgin up until that point. And if she doesn't bleed, then it's proof that she was not a virgin.
Yeah, she would bleed eventually at some point in time, whether it was the first time, second time, or third time.
I understand. Yeah, but if she didn't bleed that first time, then he would say that she wasn't a virgin on her wedding night.
Yeah, he would say that, but then that's when they would. So their cloth that is what is called a marriage cloth. So that was what they would use once she got married. But the parents themselves have their own cloth and say, this is what we're bringing forth to show that she was a virgin. What you're talking about is what the husband and the wife would use once they got married. That is something that's different than what the parents kept, because the parents themselves kept the virginity cloth. They kept this, not the husband. And that's why they would bring it forth, not the husband.
Okay, that sounds. I mean, I understand that completely. I think that's a really good working way to absolve that. So, is there anybody in particular that you've read where all that's at, or who should I look up to go find some sources and evidence of that?
Yeah. So you can look up like Sam Shamoun. Do you know who Sam Shamoun is?
I do not.
Sam Shamoun is he's a great theologian. You can look him up. Sam Shamoun. It's SAMShamoun. Sam Shamoun. And actually, he could probably answer, when I say probably majority of questions you may have, he can actually probably answer a lot of them when it comes to interpretations. And the reason I like him is because he actually not only just goes to interpretations of, what atheists may have questions about, but he actually even goes, to talk about Catholics, some of the things that he disagrees with them on, some of the things he disagrees with, Baptists.
What is he in particular, if you mind me asking?
Sam?
What sect of Christianity? Sorry.
He's a Protestant.
He is, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any specific type, or just like evangelical?
No, evangelical. Yeah, he did used to be Calvinist, and he actually used to be into Catholic itself. But he was both. He specifically talks about all the time that he used to be Calvinist.
So he would be your guy. Is there anybody else?
He's been around a long time, since like the early 90s.
Oh, really? Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. He's been around a very long time.
Can I ask you a question, Jason?
Yeah.
You're done.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for your perspective, because I really want to delve into, the atheist mindset and how y'all function and navigate
Mhm.
the world from your perspectives. So, how do you think something came from nothing? What do you think? How do
Who
you,
says
what's
that?
your, like, us, the world,
Well,
what?
no, I'm saying in particular, who has said that something came from
No,
nothing?
I'm
Because
just wondering. That's what I'm asking. Do you believe that?
do I believe
That's your
that?
perspective. Yeah.
So basically, when we talk about the start of the universe, is we're making first an inference that all of the way physics work and the laws of logic work are the same, and that's a completely fine inference to make. If you make that inference, then obviously you can't think that there was ever nothing. At some point, you have to think there was something.
Hmm.
So I've seen a lot of times that because the rate of expansion of the universe is dropping, eventually it will slow down to a stop, and then it will start closing back in on itself. So you could have reason to believe that the universe kind of perpetually just gets really really small, then there's a big bang, then it expands, and then it starts collapsing, and it goes through these cycles of growing and shrinking over time. Is That's one way that I've heard it explained. But you still have to make that inference that everything is working the same, which you don't technically know because none of the scientific forces have been like unified yet, and quantum theory works so differently than other things. It's very complicated, and I'm not done through school yet, so I can't speak on it as an expert yet.
So
So you would say, just in a nutshell, you believe in the Big Bang?
Uh, what do you guys not? I mean, I do, yeah.
No,
no,
we don't. So
Well, I mean, the Big Bang
you-
just explains how the universe, not how it came about, but just how it started from a certain point. Like before the hot dense state, and before the Planck time, we don't have tools right now that can measure back before that. So anything can exist before that, technically, but like it's not making a claim on how the universe started. Maybe our local presentation of the universe, but it's not like here's how everything ever started. It's
my thing with that is would I rather live with I may never know anything?
Are you asking me that?
No, I'm saying I'm thinking out loud when you say that. That's what it sounds like. It's like, well, we don't really know. We just know what we know right now, but we don't really know, right? We don't really know a lot yet because we have to still figure it out. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like constantly living your life in a I'll never know.
Yeah, but that happens. I mean, I'd assume that happens to you guys. It happens to me all the time. I don't have any of this specialized knowledge, or some of my friends know things that I don't. Like, it's just because it's this one thing doesn't make any difference. But like to me personally, the biggest thing I care about is whether or not the things I believe are true. And so, if there's some other way that I can gain knowledge that can be proven true, then I'll do that. But
so because I'm not very versed in the Big Bang, I understand the generalizations of it, but is it by coincidence
meaning,
that,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
like, a combustion, right? Like something we all are existing by an alignment, a coincidence. Is that how it works?
I kind of don't understand your question, to be honest. I would
Because
say that, go ahead. Sorry.
you're not using the Big Bang as the origin. This is
No,
something
no,
that
no.
happened. Okay.
Most people don't, and if they are, they're using it improperly.
Okay. So you're saying that prior to the Big Bang, we could have existed.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there could have been other universes. It could have been. I mean, it's kind of a god of the gaps to say it, but there could have been a god that started that all off. There could have been a million different things, but we just don't have the capability to measure anything before the Planck time. So what happened before then is up to anybody's best guess until we figure out a way
So
to do such.
wouldn't that make you less atheist and more agnostic?
So this gets into like actual definitions, like colloquially, I understand atheist is like God does not exist. And then agnostic is basically like a big I don't know. Technically speaking, atheism is a belief claim. So I just don't believe. I'm not saying that I believe there is no.
You're just
So I'm just
unsure.
So
I would
agnostic.
say unsure. I just haven't seen evidence to go either way. So either way is making a claim, the positive or the negative.
Yeah.
I am not making a claim yet, which means that I am technically that.
So would you
Agnostic.
say so the
Not like colloquially I could be. I like technically I'm an agnostic.
yeah.
Sorry, 1 second.
So with the oh sorry, he said hold on 1 second. Right?
Yeah, that's kind of, I used to anytime I've had these conversations about origin, it kind of leads to the agnostic place.
Okay.
Unless, there's a conversation about nothing being prior to this. I mean, honestly,
So yeah, I had a
Big
question.
Bang has been used as origin a lot from from the conversations I've had. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with like for example the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
The reason that I can't believe that it was, a coincidence is
Well,
because
just really quick, can you define what you mean by that? Because I'm still confused. What you
what?
mean by it's a coincidence?
Well, you said that it could have just happened, right? You don't believe something placed it for it to happen.
No. I mean, something could have placed it to happen, but I need to see evidence to believe that.
Well,
Big Bang is just an event that happened in the past. And
yes,
so what caused that? Like we
that's
know.
that's
Yeah.
that's the question. What
Yeah.
caused it? Is it more plausible to say this is where it started for me? Is it more plausible for me to think that the cause of the Big Bang was, I don't know, or the cause of it was an intelligent mind caused it to happen? Which one sounds more rational?
So I'll say this real quick. I'm not saying that the cause is I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know the cause. I think we all understand that. But what are you basing that on? What are your priors? So like when
Well,
I go ahead.
so I'm basing it off of the rational thinking of the intelligence of how the universe is created, right?
Well,
The
I mean that's kind of
universe,
begging the question.
huh?
Like that specific part was kind of begging the question. But like, I'm sorry. Just go ahead. Sorry, I keep
Oh, sorry.
interrupting.
Yeah, I was saying, for example, the universe itself, we have gravity, we have oxygen, we have the solar system, we have all of these things that are perfectly in place for in order for humanity to survive, right? The sun is placed where it's placed perfectly. We're at the right position. If we were a little bit further, we would die. If we were a little bit closer, we would die. We're placed at the perfect spot in order for humanity to survive. So when I think to myself, how is it possible that something engineered so perfectly could happen by accident or could happen by, something bumping into each other by accident? Or does it make more sense for me to think something as intelligently placed as the universe had to have something that was even more intelligent than the way the universe was placed in order for it to be put there in the first place? For
Yeah.
example, I always use like Henry Ford, right? The automobile. The automobile, we know the automobile works because of the combustion engine, right? But also the automobile works because of Henry Ford. They don't contradict each other.
No, I quite like that actually.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? They
I've
don't.
seen Alex O'Connor talk about that, where if you say what happened to this character in a certain book, and you go, well, character B did this to character A,
Mhm.
and then these consequences happen. But what happened to this character in the book? And it's like, well, the author wanted to show this thematic message, and both of those messages are true at the same time. They don't exclude each other. I think that's a very cool thing to think about.
Exactly. So it doesn't contradict. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm saying, yes, science is here, gravity is here, energy is here, but it still doesn't negate the fact that if I'm hungry, right, and I want to pop some popcorn, right, obviously the microwave, the energy of the microwave is popping the popcorn. That's the reason why it's popping. But it's also popping because I'm hungry and I put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
So
I
both
like that. Yeah. But I would say back to before you said that, like you're using a lot of these terms, engineered, placed. You are begging the question when you say that. You're presupposing that someone has done that and someone has designed that. So like I would reject that outright first. I would need to see that there is a designer first to believe that there is something to be designed.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of, so you say you have to have evidence and so to be able to reject it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me somebody who has created something intelligently, and you don't have a creator behind it. For example, you have a phone, don't you?
Well, okay, I understand what you're saying. Can I kind of say something else before
Yeah.
we go down this trail? I would say, like, something being intelligent doesn't have to be like a snowflake is it's not a chaotic random mashup. If you look at it under a microscope, it's like there are all these patterns, there are all these things, and it's not created at all. It's just a natural process that this thing comes about. And so there it would be an example for me of a complex thing that is that has no designer. And so I would also say that, like, I'm not very well designed under your worldview. Like,
Mhm.
I have a heart condition, and it jacks me up all the time. And there's children who die instantly coming out of birth, and there's all these things I could say the exact opposite. So we can just keep pointing at examples for both ways on that.
But can we talk about like a consciousness versus a being, right? Like there's a separation between like soul and body, right? Like don't you,
I
because
don't agree.
you believe that we don't have a consciousness that's separate from our body.
I would just ask for the evidence of that.
Well, the body can exist. Like we can actually see a person who is not alive, right? The body is still here.
Something leaves that body when they pass
Something
away.
leaves, but we don't see it.
What do you mean something leaves? I don't think anything
They're not
leaves.
functional not anymore. They're not functioning in society as a human person, making decisions, being able
Well, I
to.
agree their metabolic processes have stopped and they've gone into rigor mortis. I don't think that there's a soul livening, life giving thing that has left their body. I think that they have decayed and their DNA has run out and
You
they
believe that
died.
we're just atoms.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
then
that's why I
if-
asked you from the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. That's why I asked you from the beginning. Do you believe in the brain or do you believe in the mind?
Oh, I thought I said I like
He believed they're one. He did say that. He believes that
I
they are
think
together.
they are one thing, but it's emergent. The word I was looking for was emergent. Consciousness is just an emergent thing that comes out of a functioning brain. Sorry, I must have misspoke. I didn't mean to say that I believed in that. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. So you don't believe in, basically, you don't necessarily believe in we have a mind. You believe we have a brain that
Yes.
functions.
Sorry about that misunderstanding. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was asking from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we don't have minds, right?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay. So then how do you make decisions if you don't have a mind? For example,
I don't. Go ahead.
ChatGPT does not have a mind. It has a brain. It only functions based off of the decisions you make. So for me, I have a mind, so I can tell ChatGPT what to do. Even though ChatGPT is smarter than I am, it can look up anything and everything, but it doesn't have its own mind because it only has a brain.
Mhm.
It only has a brain. So it cannot do anything without something giving it a function. That's a brain. A mind is something that even if your brain is, stationary. For example, people who are in comas, they still there's been plenty of studies where people who've been in comas where they're brain dead, but if God gives them the gift to come back to life, right, and they end up being normal, there's stories of these people who are brain dead still having dreams, still having consciousness in their brain, even though they out in the real world, they're brain dead, they're vegetables, but in their mind, they're still dreaming, they're still thinking, they're still functioning because they have a mind.
Well, I'd need some proof for that, I guess, firstly. But I would say that I don't believe in free will, so I don't think that I technically am making decisions.
So you
I
think
think that
that
I'm.
like synapse is making you do something?
So
I don't think making me do anything. I think I am a certain way in my genes, firstly, and then I think that when things happen to me, I'm just responding to stimuli in an extremely complex way. But I would kind of say that my proof of that is that like
Have you
in
ever been
any
in a
given,
relationship?
I have, yeah.
He said he had proof. Let him say
Huh?
his proof. Real quick. He said he had proof real quick. Let him say his proof real quick.
So I would just like ask you guys, anytime you've ever made a decision, I would assert that you have always chosen the thing you wanted to do most. In any single decision ever, I would ask you right now if you wanted to come up with an example otherwise of an example.
No, that's not true. I can give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
Being a believer in Christ, there are some things that I want to do that I have to deny doing because I know I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. So you in this scenario, we have two options: doing things you know that are bad. Am I putting a word in your mouth? Doing sinful things
Immoral,
is
yeah.
option A, immoral things, and then being godly or being close to God and doing what God wants is option B. Correct? Is how I'm going to state this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you have option A and option B. You want to do option A, okay? And I agree, you probably do want to do option A. But what you want to do more than option A is option B. So you choose to do option B and exclude the other options. So like it's likening that to going to the gym. I don't like the physical process of how it hurts when I'm lifting weights, but I like the result of how I look and how I'm healthy. And so what I want most actually that's motivating me is to look good or to feel good. And I want that more than I don't want the pain from the gym. So really, I am choosing what I want most in that scenario.
No. So I give you an example.
Mhm.
Are people naturally good or naturally bad?
Uh, I couldn't tell you, I guess. Naturally
So
good or bad at what?
if I
Like
let
morally speaking? Sorry.
yeah. So for example, if laws today, they came on the news right now, national security news, and said there's no more laws for the next 48 hours. Would everyone decide to say, well, we're going to be good people, or would naturally people start doing chaotic things?
Well, don't think that the law has any. I think it's close to morality, but I don't think that the legal law has anything really to do with morality. I don't
No,
see how
I'm
this is
just giving an
relevant,
example.
really.
I'm
I mean,
just
I
giving an
understand
example of the
people would start
nature.
doing things we would have called illegal, but I don't understand how this is relevant.
Well, the reason I'm saying this is because I'm saying you're doing things you still ultimately want. No, because the human nature is sinful. The human nature is to do things that are evil. That's why I use that example. So
I so real quick, sorry. The only reason that they're not doing these things is because there is a threat of prison, basically, or punishment. And so if you get rid of the punishment, now they're going to choose the option that they have left. And so that I would say that only furthers my position is that you have two choices to do these illegal things, or you can uh, you can do the illegal things and face the law, or you can not do them and avoid the law. And so what people want to do more than anything is to avoid the law. And so ultimately that's the choice they want most, so they don't break the law in this case. So really
no,
they are choosing what they want most, which is to not go to jail and not have those consequences.
So are you
no.
saying that people would? Sorry, I was
Go ahead.
looking. Um, I missed it. Were you saying that people would choose to break the law of the law? Like if there is no law, people would do like immoral things. Is that what you were saying?
I'm saying in this example, if is I kind of still don't understand it, I guess, fully the relevance, but if like you're saying that, sorry, Carson it is?
Yes, yes, sir.
Carson, and what's your name? Taishi? Is that how you say it?
Hi, go ahead.
Ty, okay. Uh, basically, there is the law, and if we get rid of the law, people will do bad things. And so I would say that that is proof that people would rather follow the law to avoid consequences in any given scenario if they were to do the opposite if the law was taken away. And so ultimately, those people are choosing to not face the consequences of prison, and that's the choice they want most.
Okay, so we're all just doing what we want to do. That's
We're
what
all
you're.
doing we when we make decisions, we always choose what we want to do most. Is the first part of the is my first part of my syllogism with this free will thing.
So there's no moral law.
I don't think so. No.
So if you know the law says that you know Hispanic people are only worth three-fifths of everyone else, and that's the law. Would that be just?
It depends what you mean by just. In my opinion, no, it would be very not just. But really quickly, we're kind of going on a rabbit trail here. I still wanted to do my proof for free will.
Okay.
So do we agree that people always do what they want most?
Do people always do what they want to do most? No.
Yes. Can you think of it? Can you give me an example of when they don't?
Yeah. People want to, for example, I want to make my life easy and not do whatever I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do.
Yep. Okay. And why don't you?
Why don't I? Because I have to answer on Judgment Day for the things that I do.
Okay, so you would rather answer on Judgment Day than do whatever you want. So what you want most is to answer correctly on Judgment Day. That's what you want most. You're just confusing, not you specifically. I've said this to a lot of people, and it's difficult to understand it. But you want more than do whatever you want and hang out and do whatever. You want to answer on Judgment Day and be a good light of Christ or whatever. That is what you want most, actually.
What I want is to be able to get salvation more than I want to do the things that my flesh wants to do.
Okay, exactly. That's what you want most.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I'm actually that doesn't mean that I'm denying wanting to do things outside of actually choosing it, because the purpose he said.
No, I'm not denying it either. I'm saying that just in every decision, you always do what you most want to do. You have other wants, but what you most want.
Your beginning premise was we don't have free will.
No, that's the conclusion. I'm trying to prove that.
No. Your premise was you don't have free will because you will do what you don't want to do, right? Most.
The conclusion is you do not have free will. The first premise is humans always, when they make choices, people do what they want most in every choice. That's the first. That's the first premise.
I can freely choose to do good, or I can freely choose to do bad based off of what I believe in. So if I believe there is no God, for example, if I believe there is no God, what is stopping me from doing whatever I so choose to do?
In my opinion, would be empathy, but I still feel like we're getting off track. Like, what do I want most to do in every scenario? I always end up doing what I want to do most. Like, will you guys just take that? Like, you would have to provide me with an example of a time you have chosen something you didn't want most to do for me to not have that premise. You'd have to give me a counterexample because I haven't found one.
Isn't choosing what you want to do most in any scenario still free will?
No, there's freedom of choice. Like, you can choose, but in my opinion, you can only ever have chosen what you did choose. Because if you make a decision and then we rewind the clock, what are all your motivations? All your motivations are exactly the same. Nothing changes. All your wants are the same. So what happens if we press the play button? The exact same thing plays out. You could have never acted differently because all your motivations are identical. And so you don't have.
On what evidence do you have that I couldn't have made a different decision?
Well,
you don't. That's a hypothetical. Like, I'm assuming that if I was to rewind and then press play, you would make the exact same decision based on
why wouldn't you? That's the default position.
Because I have free will.
Are the same.
I have the choice. I have the
ability
to make whatever choice I want. Like you said,
you're
I'm
saying
going to choose. Right, just like you're saying I wouldn't. Like that's me saying I believe that this would happen based on choices that I've made, and then you believe that I would make this decision no matter what.
Let me
that's
reframe.
Just your perspective versus mine.
I understand what you said. Let me reframe. We need we need to first all agree on the premise that you only ever do what you want most. If we can't all agree on that, then the premise falls short. And in every scenario that I've ever thought of, you only ever do what you want most.
Yeah. You only do what you ever want to do most. Yes. It still doesn't take away free will.
Okay. So we all agree you only do what you want most.
Yeah, we can agree
correct?
For the sake of, let's just go with that.
Okay. So if you only ever do what you want most, if we were to rewind time, okay, what changes? nothing technically changes, right, at the point of a decision. So you make a decision, the consequences happen, we rewind to before the decision. What changed with you and your motivations and the things you wanted? Nothing, right?
No, that's not true. We just had a lady, Melody. She said she was a follower of Christ for 30 years, and then she chose not to believe. So now, based off of her 30 years of life, is going to look totally different than her last 30 years of life or her last 40, 50 years of life, because her decisions and her motives have just changed, which you said that they wouldn't.
Yeah, but she didn't rewind time, did she, when she made that decision? Did she rewind time?
Sorry, say it
Well,
again.
he's talking about a specific instance. Like
This is the hypothetical.
if I was to do this and then we rewind time didn't change. So of course I'm going to do that again. If we're saying that time can go backwards. Yes.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying, is that you don't have true free libertarian free will to do any willy-nilly thing at any time. You are forced
That's
to
a silly
do what
example
you want
though,
most.
because time can't go backwards.
Wow, how did that doesn't make what I said wrong, does it?
The example that you just used, you're
Because
saying
you're
that
using.
if an instance, hold on one second, Willie. If an instance happens and then I do something, and then hypothetically in a world that doesn't exist, we can rewind time and then watch me do that thing again, because it's the same time frame as if it was a video. I would do the same thing again. Yes.
No.
That's
I'm
not
not. I'm
talking.
sorry. I'm sorry. I must have misspoke. I'm not rewinding time and then playing it again. I'm rewinding it like it's very difficult to track.
Oh, I
and,
think
and that it's my fault,
I
because
think I now I get what you're saying. What you're saying is, if I decided to, pick up a remote, right, and then you rewind it before I picked up that remote, and then say, okay, let's play it from here. I would still make a decision to pick up the remote again.
Yes, but like I'm not. I misspoke, or I didn't convey it properly. I'm not just pressing the play button again. You're placed back in that situation with no knowledge of what you did in the future. So I like erase the knowledge of your choice, and I put you back before it with all the same motivations.
Mm-hmm.
And so then what would happen? It would be the same thing, because all your motivations are the same, all your choices are the same, all your wants are the same. So you would do the same thing.
How do you know that?
Well, what's not following with the logic?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're going based off a hypothetical.
Yeah, but what is not what is irrational about what I'm saying? That's just an analogy.
Because you're talking what's not logical about it is you're talking about real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you are doing a hypothetical, then hypothetically I could do the same thing. For example, if I decide to pick up my remote and you say, "Oh, let's roll it back," and then go back to the moment right before you picked up your remote. But then this time, someone walks into my room.
I know, but why would that happen?
Because the hypothetical, that's what you're doing. You're saying.
I know, but the thing about the hypothetical is that the motivations don't change, and because your wants don't change,
you know what
the choices follow.
What does change is reality. Reality is constantly changing. So maybe your motives didn't change, but someone else could come in and come walk into your room.
They couldn't have done that because their motivations don't change either. I'm just rewinding time back before the motivations, back before the choices.
How do you know that? It's
okay, then tell me how their motivations would have changed, how their wants would have changed. Sorry.
Because it's reality. So reality is they could have thought about something else in that period of time, because
they couldn't have, because their wants are the same. Their wants are the same, so they would do what they want most, so that then the choices would follow.
No. So like I said, it's a hypothetical. You're hypothetically placing the scenario and trying to make it an absolute. You can't make a hypothetical an absolute. It's impossible. To make a hypothetical an absolute is impossible. Because you can't absolutely for sure say that it would stay the same. Absolutely. It's only your theory that it would stay the same.
The hypothetical is that I'm rewinding time and deleting all knowledge that came after a decision was made. That's my hypothetical. Okay, and then if you go back to before the decision, they make the same decision because the wants are all the same. And so they always end up picking what they want most. So they do the exact same thing every time.
Have you ever had regret in your life?
Yeah.
And what is that regret? What not literally. I'm saying what is regret? What is regret?
Regret is when you make a decision and then realize after the decision is made that you made the wrong choice.
But based off of what? So you made
based off the consequences of the choice.
Because you maybe have done something that you maybe didn't want to do.
Yes, but you only now don't want to do it because you see the actual consequences.
But it's still you do not want.
After the fact, yeah, true, yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's all a hypothetical. It's a scenario that constantly, just honestly, in my opinion, puts you in chaos.
Nothing. If I make a decision and then I regret the decision, and then we delete all that memory of me after the decision made and place me before, why would I still not choose the same thing?
Because reality changed. Reality could change. The scenario could change.
What? No. We're just rewinding time. We're not changing anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you see what I'm saying? Your hypothetical, you want it to be the way you want it to be only. Because you want your hypothetical to be the absolute. And I'm saying if you can use a hypothetical, then so can I. If your hypothetical is
okay, explain to me how something could have changed then if you just rewind time. Because if you rewind time, all the motivations are the same. If you cut the experience of after the decision and rewind time, everyone's wants are the same, so nothing would change.
Yeah, I just said someone could decide to stand up and walk into the room. Therefore,
they wouldn't do that because they don't want to do that in the first place.
In your hypothetical,
we can just move on to something else.
Yeah, y'all are talking in circles because it's what I said at the very beginning. At the very beginning, it's a hypothetical based on Jason's perspective, and then you're going to recant it with a hypothetical based on your perspective, and it's just going to keep going. So cool. Appreciate you, Jason. Anything else you want to add before we're going to go on to Brenda? Appreciate you.
Nah, you guys are nice. I like you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason, for coming on. Thank you for actually being brave enough to come on here and actually talking to us and have a conversation. I know for a lot of people that's a big deal. So thank you for coming on and having a conversation.
Type in the chat. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
What's up, Brenda?
Brenda debates.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. So I haven't heard of you, but you just popped up in my feed.
I hope that's a good thing.
I like how that works.
Well, I don't know. So
are you atheist or agnostic?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am an atheist.
And are you open-minded or closed-minded?
I'm always open-minded.
Open-minded. Okay. And do you believe in the brain or do you believe in the mind?
Well, we have the mind is what the brain does.
Is my computer trip really quickly? Malik, I can't hear you when you speak. So I can hear Brenda, but not yours.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I'll re-enter. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I can hear both of you just fine.
Yeah, I think maybe you just need to refresh, probably. Because we can hear you.
Yeah, the mind is just the consequence of the brain.
Okay. So do you think that the brain is a function and the mind is a function, or do you?
Brain is an organ.
Uh-huh.
The mind is what that organ does. It thinks.
So okay, so you do believe that they both exist?
Of course.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Okay.
Yeah. Mental states are just brain states.
Okay.
Right. So, so what kind of are you looking to prove that God exists, or what?
No, what we're looking for is someone to disprove that God exists.
Okay. So, do you believe in the Christian God?
Yes, we believe in Jesus Christ, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Yes.
And does he exist inside of the universe or outside of the universe?
Both.
But I don't understand that. I think that's
God,
actually
God of the Bible. He's omnipresent. So what that means is he can be at all places at once. So he can exist on the earth, but also in the spiritual realm as well. So God in the Bible is described as omnipresent.
So he created the universe, which is all of space and time, right?
Yeah, for he created, yeah, the heavens and the earth, correct.
Isn't creation an act in time?
That is, we are in time.
No. So how could God create in time before time existed?
Well, God existed before time existed.
Exactly.
God is
Yeah,
always
but there was
existed.
no time in which he could create.
Where does time come from?
Well, he created it.
No. So time comes from what? Where do we get the concept of time from?
We live in space-time. That's what this universe is.
No, I'm saying,
Before,
where do we get it from? Like, how did we come up with the concept of time itself? Like, it just,
it's a succession of events.
oh no, I'm saying if you took away your clock that was on your phone or on your computer or on your watch, took away that clock, how could you have a concept of what time is?
Well, because there are things happening.
Well, that's just people moving. How do you have a
Yeah, that's what time is. It's just a succession of events.
no. So for example, God of the Bible, right? He's doing things eternally
How can he do something outside of time?
because he's eternal.
That doesn't make any sense.
He doesn't
To do
abide
something,
as we
to
do.
do something requires time. God can't
For
do
man,
anything if what?
For man, time is required.
So God can do illogical things?
No, God
Not
can do things.
logical. Don't you understand the concept of eternity?
Eternity is just endless time.
Well, there
No.
is no bracket of
No,
time in
yeah,
eternity.
eternity means without time.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It
it's
means
without
it
time.
means time without end. That's what eternity means.
No,
Endless.
eternity means without time.
So there are no events in eternity.
No, there's things happening in eternity, but it doesn't
How
have
could
a time bounded to it because he's
do,
outside of time and space.
do events take place in eternity?
What do you mean by events?
Things happen.
Can things happen? Yeah, of course, things can happen.
Yeah, do some things happen before other things?
Does some things happen before other things?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like
In
if
eternity,
something happened right now and then something else happens
yeah, in God's eternity, do some things happen before other things happen or after?
But to tell you the truth, I don't know. The Bible doesn't tell me.
Well, I don't see how they could be any other way, right? Because that's just what time is. Time is just a succession of events.
No. So man is bounded by time and space, right? So God is outside of time and space, meaning
Right.
he has no end. The reason we are
Right.
bounded by time and space because we have a end to us. The events that you do today, right? The events that you do today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, eventually will come to an end. This is why you're bounded by time and space, because eventually your time will run out. Eventually my time will run out.
Eventually, I'll pass away. I'll die, of course.
Yes.
But that's an event, and all of these things are events. But
yes,
if you're saying God is outside of the sphere of events, then there are no events where God
no, I
in
said
time.
he's outside of time and space, meaning he will never die. He will
I'm
never
not talking about life or death. I'm not talking about life or death. I'm talking about events.
Yeah, but why do we calculate time?
We do it by counting events.
No, I said why? Why are we counting down time?
Because it's convenient to us.
No,
Before
we
people
count
invented clocks, they just lived, but events still took place. They probably counted by days or months or something.
Yes, but the reason we calculate time, the reason we calculate it is because eventually this will come to an end. There's something that they're calculating that will come to an end or will have an end. That's the
I
reason
don't
why
think
God
that's
is
true
outside.
at all.
Yeah,
No,
name
that's not true.
Name me something that didn't have an end.
People created clocks so that they could plan for things like planting and harvesting. That's why people
No,
invented
I'm saying
time.
give me something that has never ended.
I don't know why you're switching topics. We're talking about time.
Yes, I'm explaining to you. Man calculates things that come to an end. For example,
No,
the harvest will come to an end. The
that's
chicken
not why.
that will
That's not
come to an
why.
No, this is
People,
why we're bounded by time and space, because everything will come to an end. God is outside of it because he will never come to an end.
that's not
So
true.
give me something, okay, give me something on the earth that has never ended.
But that's not the point. The point
It is
is,
the point. You're
no, it isn't.
saying God is not eternal. He's not, he's
No,
in time. You're saying he's
I'm
in time.
not. I'm accepting I'm accepting your premise that God is eternal. I'm saying that a consequence of that is that an eternal entity that it doesn't exist in time cannot create, because creation requires time.
No. Something that is eternal does not require time. So
It requires time in which to act.
if
You
I'm
can't act without time.
if I'm eternal, I can do things that will never come to an end. Correct?
No, you can't.
Okay. You just said, do you agree that God is eternal? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So if God is eternal, he can do things that will never come to an end. It will never have an end, right?
If he's eternal within time, right, then he could then, and time is a infinite succession of events. He could do that. But if God is outside of time, he can't act because action requires time.
Well, God doesn't have a beginning, so he's already outside of time.
The universe doesn't have a beginning.
Yes, it does.
Well, that's a
No, it doesn't.
that's contradictory to our belief system where he created the universe.
It's not a contradiction. It's
Can you show me where you see that the earth is eternal?
well, I didn't say the earth is eternal.
That means then if it doesn't have a beginning, then it has to be eternal.
No, that's not true.
So the earth does have a beginning? Was the earth created? Does it have a beginning, or do you
The
think
earth formed
always?
the earth formed from a nebula of dust and gas that formed our solar system.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it has a beginning. I'm not
So that
talking
means it's
about
not eternal. That means it's not eternal.
that doesn't follow. Nevertheless, I think the earth will end. The sun will become a red giant and consume the earth.
I'll show you. For us, this is what the Bible says. In the Bible, the term eternal refers to everlasting, having no beginning or end. So if something doesn't have a beginning or an end, that's eternal. The earth has a
Right.
beginning and it will have an end. You just said it will come to an end. So
Yeah.
it's not eternal.
I never said the earth was eternal.
Well, we were talking
I said the
about
universe was. I said the universe could be eternal.
Show
Well,
how.
we believe that God created the universe.
Yeah, but he can't.
Why?
How?
I already gave the argument for that.
How?
What's the
How?
argument?
Because creation is an act that requires time. God is outside of time. Therefore, God cannot create um, something in which, when it requires time for him to create it.
So who
So
created?
you think that because God does not abide by the same time, he can't utilize that time?
It's not any time.
No. Who? Okay. Who created it then? If God didn't create the universe, who did?
Nobody. It's not created.
So the universe is eternal. So the universe is everlasting.
Well, it doesn't have to be, but it doesn't. There's no contradiction in believing that the universe is past eternal.
Is the universe eternal or not?
It could be.
Is it or is it not?
He doesn't know, is what he said.
I can't say.
That's
Right?
what
It doesn't matter because it could be past eternal. There's no contradiction involved in a past eternal universe.
So what event caused the universe to be eternal
There's no event. It just always was.
So you're saying the universe is God?
No.
Buzz, I think you're.
I think
Why do you think?
does.
Why do you think? It could just be a thing that was always existent, right? Doesn't
you
have
can
to be a
say-
person.
like God of the Bible. You said the universe could have always existed, just like the God
Yeah.
of the Bible. So you believe in something very similar to us. You just don't call it God.
No, I don't. No, I don't. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not similar at all.
Yes, it is. You just said that the
No, it
universe
isn't.
could exist.
Stop telling me what I believe. Stop gaslighting me.
You just said that you believe the universe could always exist, right?
Yes, it's possible. Yes.
And I'm saying it's possible that God could always everlastingly exist.
That doesn't mean they're the same thing.
I say you believe in something similar that we believe.
They're not similar.
They
One
are
is just
both
the universe. It's an unthinking thing. It's not a person. It doesn't have thoughts. It doesn't create things, right? It just exists.
Why?
It just does. It's just a brute fact.
So it's more rational to believe that something just does than believing that the eternal God, who's a person, created
Who
that
just
something.
does.
No,
Mine is more parsimonious. My belief is
who
more
created it?
parsimonious.
So are you okay? For example, a phone exists. Does it just exist just cause your phone that you're using or laptop you're using, it just exists just cause?
That's what you believe. You believe that God just exists just cause.
No.
Yes, you do.
No.
Who created God?
No one created God.
Yeah. No one created the universe.
There's nothing like it.
No one created the universe. It's the same thing.
He too atheist.
Mine is just not
he's-
personal.
I
Mine is
mean-
just not personal.
He only what y'all are both saying very similar things. He just doesn't want it to go this way. It only can go this way.
There's no justification for believing that the universe is a person with thoughts and it has properties.
So then
Well,
there's
I
no
think that there is because
justification that you're a person and have thoughts.
right. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
What? I didn't catch that. I
So
missed
then
it.
if there's no justification that there's a God who's a being and has thoughts and is a person, then there's no justification that you are a person and
That
have
doesn't
thoughts.
follow. That doesn't
Yes, it
follow
does.
at all.
Yes, it does, because
Oh, what's the inference? What's the inference?
you're a being, yes or no?
Yeah.
You're a person, yes or no?
Yeah.
And you exist, yes or no?
Yeah.
How do you know?
I exist because I can doubt that I exist.
Huh?
Yeah.
You exist.
My ability to doubt that I exist
Your
shows that I
consciousness-
exist.
Therefore, God can exist because you can doubt He exists.
No, that doesn't follow.
It's the same. It's the same concept.
It doesn't follow
Yes, it
logically.
does. You just
Well-
said I exist because I can doubt that I exist. God is a
No.
person, and you can doubt that He exists, right?
Unicorns exist because I can doubt they exist.
I told you, too atheist. You too.
I
Do you
like
think?
the
Do you
unicorn
think
analogy.
that? Do you think that what I said was a valid inference? I exist. I can doubt that I exist. Therefore, unicorns can doubt that they exist. Therefore, unicorns exist. That's
Well,
a bad argument. It's a bad argument for unicorns, and it's a bad argument for God.
So what you're saying is there's no evidence that can lead you that God exists. That's what you're saying, correct?
I didn't say that.
Okay. so
I gave you the arguments.
what evidence do you need to show that God exists?
I gave you arguments why God can't exist.
No, you just gave me theory. You didn't give me argument.
No, it's not theory. It was an argument. It was a syllogism.
No,
Right.
You know it's a theory because you say it could be, shouldn't be, it could
It's
be.
not a scientific theory. It was a logical argument.
But you're saying you don't have a definite. You're saying it could be, it could not be.
I gave you a logical argument.
No, you're giving me a could be or could not be. You said
All acts of creation require time. If God exists outside of time, then God cannot create because creation requires an act within time.
no, it doesn't.
I just said that So do you think that acts don't require time?
Now, when it comes to God, no, He's eternal.
No, you're just special pleading now.
No, I'm not. I just told you even said yourself, God is eternal. You said I agree.
So is there a before and an after to an act of creation?
God does. Okay, let me say it again. God does not have a beginning or an end. So if He
Not talking
created,
about God.
I'm
Talking about the creation of the universe. Was there before the creation of the universe?
yes, God.
How is that before? Because the universe is space, all space and all time.
No, I just told you, God is the eternal one. Therefore,
I didn't say anything about eternity. I said the universe,
well,
right, is all of space and time, right?
we have to use eternity when we're talking about it because eternity is separate from time.
No, it isn't. Eternity is just an endless succession of events.
No, eternity is
Yes, it is.
no, eternity is everlasting, no beginning, no end.
Of time.
Okay. So just that's fine. Okay. Yeah, because we're gonna keep going. All that we're saying, Brenda, is that we believe that God existed prior to the universe and created the universe. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I refuted that. I gave a logical argument why that can't be true. And
Because
you
you
have
said
yet.
and not exist outside of time.
No, I
Is that
said
what?
that if it, no, that's not what I said.
Okay, just say what you said, Brenda. Just say what you said.
I
What'd you say?
said an act of creation requires time to take place. If God is outside of time, right, then he can't act.
No.
So
Okay.
you're saying
Because
that
acts,
wait, because every time I say something, I get cut off. What you're saying is God cannot utilize time because he's outside of time. Is that what you're saying?
I know, I'm saying he can't create time because there's no time for him to create in.
He existed before we have any conception of time. And then he
That's right.
created time, right?
But
He
how?
created time. I don't know. I'm not God.
Yeah, he can't have done because to create time requires time in which to
No.
create.
That's why I just said, where do we get concept of time? Do we have seasons?
The concept of time is a succession of events.
Where do we get time from? Do we have seasons? Yes or no?
Of course, we have seasons.
Why do we have seasons?
Because the Earth revolves around the sun.
Okay, exactly. And we have 24 hours in a day? Yes?
Yeah, because the Earth rotates on its axis.
Okay, so there's your explanation of
Those
why.
those are events. That's a succession
No,
of events.
that's the reason why humans have time. Humans have time because
No.
God placed these parameters on the earth for
No.
reasons. Yes, for reasons.
No, time exists whether humans could not exist in the universe at all, and there would still be time.
No.
Yes.
No, God is eternal. That's what I'm explaining.
I'm not talking about God. Imagine a universe without any humans or any life in it at all. There's still time because events are still taking place.
God is eternal. It has nothing to do. The universe is still.
Do you understand? You don't understand the hypothetical, right? Imagine a universe.
Because it's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
It's not
Imagine a universe with no life. There's stars and solar systems and planets that orbit the stars, right? Mm-hmm. There's no life anywhere in this universe. Time still exists
inside of the
universe.
Which is what?
The universe.
Which is
space and time. The universe is space and time.
Exactly. Which
that
God
doesn't make your point. That makes my point.
No, which God is outside of time and space.
Right.
Which is why
right.
he can create it.
He can't because there's no time for his act of creation to take place in.
Where do you get that God can't create because time doesn't exist? Where do you
I gave a logical argument.
No, where do you get that from?
It's logically entailed in the premises.
Where do you get it from? Not what in
I-
your opinion. Where did you get it from? Where did you get it from?
I get it from the premises. The premise is that acts of creation require time. God
By
is outside of time.
who said?
Therefore, God cannot create because he has no time to create in.
Who said?
I said it.
Exactly. That's my point.
No, it isn't. That's not your
Yeah.
point. You never said anything like that.
No, your point is you're your own God. That's what
No,
you're
I'm not. I'm
Yes.
just making an argument. It's just an argument.
No, what you're saying is I said so, therefore it is true.
No, the argument is logical, therefore it's true.
No, if it was logical, you would have facts behind it. It's you just said
No.
I said so.
Well, I do have facts behind it. It's a fact that acts of creation require time.
Where's that fact from?
Is premise one, right? Do you think that acts don't require time?
Where is
You
that?
deny it? Do you deny the first premise?
Where is
We
that?
deny that God abides by the same laws as we do.
Can God make 2 + 2 = 5?
I don't know, Brenda.
Can God make?
He can't. God cannot make,
How do you know he can't? How do you know he can't?
because it's a logical contradiction.
No, it's your opinion.
That's not an opinion, it's
It
objective
is.
truth.
You're saying if we're telling you God does not abide by the same law as man, and then you ask a law of man, can God make 2 + 2 = 5? And I say I don't know because I'm not God. Then you're
Logic.
creating a illogical conversation just like we are. You're talking about a hypothetical just as we are.
No, it's not. Logic is not created by people.
Do you know what God can do?
I know what he can't do
How?
because I can think logically. I can have a
I can think
logical
logically
argument.
too, and I don't know what God can and cannot do because I'm not God. Just like I don't know what you can or cannot do because I'm not you.
You know the things I can't do.
I don't.
Some of
I
them.
don't know you.
Sure you do. You know that I can't make 2 + 2 = 5.
I don't know.
You know that.
That way
Just like I
don't.
know God can't do that. God cannot make a rock so heavy
Brenda,
he
you're
can't
not
lift
God.
it.
You can't speak for what God
The
can.
laws of logic trump your God.
No, the laws of logic are only what we abide by, but we're
No,
not God.
they're not. They're not
Yes,
subjective.
they are.
They're
are.
objective. No, they're objective. They're true regardless of what our opinion is.
So you're saying
We didn't.
so what you're
Yeah.
saying, it is absolutely true that God has to live in time and space. Absolutely true.
I didn't say that.
You said the only
That wasn't my argument.
you said the only way he can
You can't
create-
track my argument.
No.
I've said it 3 or
Said-
4 times.
You said
And
the
you
only-
can't track
you just
it.
don't like that we don't agree with your argument.
No, I gave a logical argument that that is true whether you like it or not.
No, you said that God, the only way he
Brenda,
can create
You
is
cannot
living
tell
in
us
time
what
and space.
God can or cannot do because you are not God. So therefore, regardless of what you say or what you think, you are not God. So when we bait you with a question to say, do you think that God can? It doesn't matter what you think because you don't know. Just like we don't know.
That's false. I can tell you what God can't do. God cannot make a rock so heavy he can't lift it because that's a logical contradiction. God cannot make logical contradictions true.
Okay.
So I can know what God can't do. He can't make 2 + 2 = 5.
Again. So are you saying that the only way God can create is he has to live in time and space?
Yeah. Because creation is an action that
So
requires time.
So what you are saying, you just said yes. So don't say no, that's not what I said. So what you are saying is it is objectively true that God has to live in time and space in order to create. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
That's what I just said. And you said no. So therefore, if this is an objective truth,
I didn't say no. I said yes.
Show me the facts that this is true. Prove to me. If it's objective, you have to prove it.
I did.
Or else-
I've given
or
the
else it's
argument
subjective.
5 times, and you can't track it.
No, you're giving subjective thoughts.
Brenda,
No,
it's not
it's
right?
logic is
That we don't
objective, not
agree.
subjective.
You just said this is what I think.
No, I didn't give you what I think.
Yes,
I gave you no.
That's what you said. You said
No, an
where's the
argument
fact?
isn't
That's
what I
wrong.
think. It isn't my belief that my argument is true. It's an objective fact that it's true. It's
Okay.
true
Well,
regardless of my opinion.
cool. We don't agree with your opinion. We appreciate your opinion. We don't agree with your opinion.
It's
And then
not
we
my
can say
opinion.
you
It is,
just
yeah.
said it was your
It's
opinion.
not. No,
You
I
just
didn't
said
say it. I literally said it's not my opinion.
Okay. Well, regardless of what it is, whether it's your opinion, whether it's your belief, whether it's not your opinion, it's not your belief, regardless, the concept that we presented at the very beginning of our conversation is that we believe that God exists outside of time. If we cannot agree on that perspective, then any conversation that stems after that will just be null and void.
The logical consequence of your belief is that God cannot exist because it leads to a contradiction. Namely, he can't have created the universe because
Says
he
who?
can't, he doesn't, says logic.
No. Say where? Where does this? What logic says
I've
that?
given it to you 6 times and you still can't track the argument
Why do you keep saying we can't track your argument? We just
because
don't
you
agree
keep,
with your argument.
No.
no, you keep misrepresenting. You can't steel man it back to me. Steel man my argument back to me.
No. What you're saying is, does time and space have a beginning and an end?
That's not what I said.
No, I'm asking you. Does
I
time
think
and
it's, that doesn't have anything to do with the argument.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Does time
Brenda,
You're
you're
not
gonna
following the
answer our-
argument.
Brenda, you're gonna
Does-
have to answer the questions that we ask.
What
does-
is my argument? Steel
does-
man my argument back to me.
does time and space have a beginning and an end?
That's not you steel manning my argument. Steel man my
We're not
argument
gonna
back
do
to me.
Brenda, we're not gonna do what you're
Does-
telling us to do. You're gonna answer the question or you're gonna go.
No, you're
So-
going to answer my question is what you're going to do.
All right, Brenda. Go ahead and have a good night.
Does time have a beginning and an end?
That's not my argument.
Yes or no?
It's not my argument.
Malik, he's not gonna answer it. He's not gonna answer it. He's not gonna answer it. He's just gonna keep going. Anyways, y'all, that's 2 hours and 30 minutes for y'all tonight. We appreciate everybody in the comment section, whether you agree, whether you disagree. We love it all. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate you, Brenda. We appreciate Jason. We appreciate everybody in the comment section. And yet and still, we still believe in Jesus Christ. So, atheists, y'all didn't really do a good job tonight, whether you believe it or not. But yes. Anything else, Malik?
Yeah, I think all the whole point of what they're all saying is just everything is what I think. What yeah, exactly. It's what I think. We
knew that before we came on here. We knew that.
Yeah, I think that it's not true. I think that this. I think that. That's all that it is.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate y'all, and that's it. We'll see y'all guys. We'll see y'all next time, and hopefully the atheists have better arguments than unicorns and leprechauns.
Mm-hmm.
See you guys.
In time and space for everlasting God.
All right.